Good afternoon, Ms. Bridgewater. How are you today?
Rest for you.
I feel well. The SAP reset date, please.
The 11th of February.
Sorry, say it again for me.
February the 11th.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, courtroom two. Let me know when you're ready for me to start.
Good afternoon, we're ready, Judge.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. If you do not have a private attorney, we are providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Let me make sure that we have the solicitors on the line. Yes, Miss Tucker, good afternoon. Who do we have first in courtroom number two?
This is Michelle Thomas. I didn't get a calendar or print the calendar yet, so I'm not sure her position number.
Okay, Miss Thomas is position number 13. Who's representing Miss Thomas this afternoon? Mr. McLean, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ms. Thomas. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0004438 with battery, family violence, criminal trespass, interference with possession, and another count of battery, family violence. Afternoon, Mr. Howard. Is there a history?
Hey, first, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
First,
first arrest.
thank you. Mr. Tucker.
This is actually going to be ASG Allen's case. I see her on.
Good afternoon, Miss Allen.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thank you. Can you tell me what number we're on?
Yes, we're position number 13. Ms. Michelle Thomas.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, this is Mrs. Thomas's first arrest. Police were called on the 27th, so yesterday at about 8:30 p.m. to 2125 DeForest Ferry Road. There they met with the victim, Christopher Marto, M-A-R-T-O, who reports that they lived together. He said that he'd been assaulted by his live-in girlfriend who took his cell phone when he got home. It was on the counter in the kitchen. She refused to give it back to him during an argument, and she started swinging at him, making contact multiple times. She struck him. He had visible cuts on his upper lip, the left side of his head, the back of his head, and his shoulder. The defendant had no injuries, Your Honor, and made an admission to swinging at the victim. We spoke to the victim today. He reports they're in a relationship, that this is not the first time the defendant's been violent towards him, but the first time police have been called and made an arrest. Police have been to the location previously. He's asking for contact. The state's position at this point is that there should be no contact and a stay away order there for 2125 DeForest Ferry Road, south or northwest, excuse me. We're asking for a $3,000 SOB through pretrial, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and again, no contact. If you would call or sound for Mr. Marto, just in case he's joined us. Thank you.
Mr. Marto is on the line, wishes to address the court. Now as you unmute yourself. Not sure if this is Mr. Marto under Christopher's iPhone there. Okay, so go ahead and see if you're going to unmute yourself, Mr. Marto. Okay, I'm not sure if we've lost him or not, but while we wait for Mr. Marto, Mr. McLean.
Yes, Your Honor, we would agree with the signature bond, but we would ask the court to not constrict them, not restrict them from contact, and that would be our position. Thank you.
Mr. Marto, let me see, can
Yes.
we hear you?
Yeah,
Okay, yes, hold on,
I'm-
I can hear you, hold on 1 second for me, can you raise your right hand for me? I believe it's the other hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Mr. Marto, what would you like to tell the court?
I'd just like to say, I didn't want anything to come to that, but obviously, you know, violence can't continue. She really needs to get back on her. She was going to classes down by the South Fulton behavior, and that had stopped, and that's when all this kind of chaos has back began. So, I mean, I would just like her to get some help, and I don't have like any objection of her like coming back as long as she's getting help and controlling her rage.
Okay, I'm not going to allow her to come back at the present time. If in the future she does get some help, as you say, and you wish or she wishes to have contact after that time, you can petition the court to modify my bond order here. I appreciate you being here this afternoon, Mr. Marto. As for today, for each of the battery family violence, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the criminal trespass, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness. No further contact at this time with Mr. Marto. Stay away from the DeForest Ferry Road address. If necessary, she can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Thomas. You as well, Mr. Marto.
All right, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, next is Miss Pope. And she's position number 10.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Pope. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000442B with terroristic threats and acts. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Hold on. See something.
Your Honor, my name is Sarah Lawrence, and I'm an attorney from Florida, and I'm Mr. Holmes, and I just want to make my presence known. There are issue of children, and if I don't know what was going to happen with Miss Pope, but my client is the legitimate father, and we're concerned that if she gets out, she's going to remove the children from the state of Georgia. And
Okay, hold on, Attorney Lawrence. I don't know anything about the case so far. Let me find out what's going on, and then I will in turn.
It seems like I'm gonna come, okay?
Okay, can we mute Ms. Bradshaw there, please? Ms. Bradshaw, you're not on mute, and we can hear you, so thank you. All right, Ms. Lawrence, I'll be back with you, ma'am.
First arrest, resident of Tampa, Florida. They issued a TPO back in August. So that's
Okay,
it. Jail's a recommendation.
thank you. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge. So this incident did occur in July of 2024, so it would have been before the TPO. The state is recommending a $15,000 signature bond through pretrial. And excuse me, I mean $1,500, not 15,000. The facts allege that the victim came to the Fairburn PD with text messages on his phone, very violent, threatening text messages saying, bitch, I will kill you. Another one saying, I hate you, bitch, I want you dead. And another one saying, bitch, anybody in the way can get killed too. You're a bitch and her bald head ass baby. So we did speak with this victim. I believe we heard his attorney is here. He did confirm the events in the warrant, said she was on his Instagram, didn't like something that he posted, and then just started sending all these messages. So he wants no contact, wants a stay away from his residence. That's 314 Breeze Meadow in Fairburn, Georgia. So we would be asking for the no further contact and stay away with that signature bond. And if we could sound for him now, it's Joqua Holmes.
Your Honor, also, I think it has to be added into this that the party share two children, and this violence that Ms. Pope is committed is also endangering the children, and we are afraid that if she gets out, we're not going to be able to know where the children are, and we would like to have the children at least temporarily in the custody of Mr. Holmes, because we're afraid for their safety as well.
Well, this is only a bond hearing today. You're gonna have to petition the appropriate court, Attorney Lawrence, for what you're asking this court for. Where are the children at the present time?
We don't know. That's the problem.
And is there an order in place as in regards to custody?
Well, there was, but he just got legitimized, and if nothing else, we want this court to order that the children must remain in Georgia and not be taken out of the state.
Again, you're gonna have to petition another court for that request, Ms. Lawrence. I will have Ms. Pope abide by any court order in regards to the children.
Well, there is this status quo order that says that she was not supposed to remove the children from the state of Georgia, and it's our understanding that the children are not in the state. We don't know who has them or where they are, but they should be under the status quo order. They should remain in the state of Georgia.
Okay, so if that is the case, and I put in the order that she's to abide by any pre-existing court orders in regards to the children, I guess that would cover that.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, when we met Ms. Pope, we found from her that I had represented Holmes at a last hearing, something like last summer. So we put in for a conflict, and I don't know if Ms. Maureen McLeod's going to represent her today or somebody.
Okay, you all should let me know that at the top of the calendar as opposed to when I get all the way into the case, please, next time.
We had well prior to the calendar about an hour
Okay,
ago.
well, nobody alerted me, so I needed to be alerted that that a conflict attorney has been requested. Let's see, Ms. Bridgewater.
Judge, this is Grace.
Oh,
I'll try to
Ms.
contact
Grace.
Ms. McLeod. We wasn't aware of a conflict needed as well.
Ms. McLeod said that she would be in court today at 2. She could not represent her today.
Okay. Let's see, Ms.
Your Honor, can I ask one question? Could we get the address of where Ms. Pope has the children?
I'm not going to address any requests until Ms. Pope is properly represented.
Okay.
Ms. Pope, unfortunately, we do not have a conflict attorney here with you today to represent you. I can either wait for tomorrow for you to speak with an attorney, or you can proceed pro se today without the necessity or without the assistance of an attorney. The state has recommended to give you a signature bond. I'm inclined to give you that signature bond with stipulations on that bond. So with that said, and you know what your choices are, how would you like to proceed today?
Represent myself.
Okay. And are you living in the state of Georgia at the present time?
No,
Okay, where is your residence?
Tampa, Florida.
Okay, and you have a good address in Tampa, Florida?
I do.
Okay, and you can provide that address in the chat to my staff?
Yes,
Okay, and are the children at that address as well?
yes.
Okay, so I want you to provide that address through someone to Ms. Bridgewater there. All right, if nothing further, it's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Mr. Holmes. Stay away from his residence, the Breeze Meadow address. You're to abide by any court orders in regards to your minor children with Mr. Holmes. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. You'll get notice of your next hearing date, Ms. Pope. If you do not show up for that date, they'll put a warrant out for you. You have a question for me?
Yes. The case was closed. I have full custody of the kids.
Objection.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, so we're not going to address that, Ms. Pope. That can be, this is only a bond hearing today. You can address that in a different court down the road, so you all can work that out. But whatever arrangements that you presently have or that you come to in the future, this bond order is going to require that you follow that, okay?
Okay, and one more thing, the kids are to stay with me, correct? Because that's what was.
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, I don't know what your court order says, whatever, however, whatever the order says, or whoever has custody, that will stay in place until the court that ordered that changes it.
Thank you.
Okay, and let me just let you know, Miss Pope, if you have any contact with Mr. Holmes, it's going to be in violation of this bond order, and you are going to have to and it will be withdrawn. Okay, you're to have third-party transfer if that's the case of those minor children for any type of visitation. All right, so you're not to see or speak with Mr. Holmes whatsoever. Obviously, no personal contact, no phone contact, no internet contact, no social media contact, no email contact, no contact through third parties. You can have no contact with him whatsoever, okay? If you do and I find out about it, this bond order will be revoked. You understand me?
Thank you.
All right.
And Your Honor, just for the court's edification, there has been no custody order issued, and now that he's legitimized, they have an equal rights.
All right, well,
Just for the
there-
correction of what she said.
all right, good luck to you all.
Thank you. We're gonna go with position number 15, Washington.
Okay. And Mr. McKean, are you an attorney that has a client before me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have Mally Kupoli. That's my
Okay,
only case.
all right, she's probably an ACDC, and when we
She's here. We
is
can
she
do her
there?
next. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so
Here.
let's do Mr. McKean's case when we can.
Okay, she's next.
Okay,
Thank
all
you.
right, we'll be with you, sir. Thank you. And this is Mr. Washington.
Yes.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Washington. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0004446C with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
He got over 60.
Okay, what's in the last 10 years?
Well, he got a lot. Well, you gave him a good bond last time he was here. He just got out of jail on the 24th of this month.
What was the charge?
What, trespass, shoplifting? He was
Okay.
he was in for a while. You gave him a good bond when he first came to first appearance on that
Okay.
arrest, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on real quick. Let me see something. What's his booking? Hold on. So he got arrested in November 20th, and he got released 4 days ago.
Okay.
2 counts of shoplifting, 1 trespass. He got a lot of trespass and shoplifting from last year.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, Ms. Allen?
Your Honor,
Yeah.
this, thank you. This is my case. We may need a breakout. The defendant has currently 2 cases he was just released on that were dead docketed because he was found incompetent. He's been on the competency track.
Okay, and the last bond order that I issued, do you have that before you?
No, because the case was dismissed.
Oh, the case
Yeah.
was dismissed.
He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 cases that have been initiated in 2024. Every single one of them was dead docketed based on that reasoning. He was just released from jail 4 days ago.
Okay, what is your request to the court at this time? Do we place them back on the competency calendar?
I guess that makes sense. I mean, we're asking for $1,000 surety to stay away from the location, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and to have an evaluation.
Okay, what's the location?
Specifically, Your Honor, on the 27th at 5200 Woodward Parkway, that's the Walmart in Milton. Police were called because the defendant had returned 5 times within a 48-hour period and was becoming increasingly aggressive, and employees there voiced concerns about his health and safety as well as theirs.
Mr. McLean, do you have any objection as to having a mental health evaluation and placing them
No,
back on the competency calendar?
no, Your Honor. I think it should go to the competency calendar.
Okay, Ms. Bridgewater, which competency calendar can we place this on?
So, 2 weeks from now, it will be on a Thursday, so I would say the 13th. If it's the 11th, the 13th.
Okay. All right, it'll be a $2,000 good bond, a mental health evaluation, and any treatment that's necessary. Stay away from that Walmart in Milton, and it'll be placed on the competency calendar on February 13th. Obviously, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons if he makes bond. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Washington.
Number 6, Mr. Coleman.
See right up. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Cooperly. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000439A with 2 counts of simple assault, family violence, 1 count of simple battery, family violence, and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
I got first.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we're asking for $1,000 signature bond on each charge for a total of 4,000, as well as a no further violent contact. The basis for each of the charge is she was throwing bases at both her mother and her brother. The simple battery, she threw a water bottle that hit the mother, and the criminal trespass, obviously the vases hit the ground, shattered, broke. We did speak with the mother. It sounds like this may be a good case for our misdemeanor MHC. I intend to email Attorney McKean after this calendar and get the referral form to him if they're interested. But for those reasons, that's why we're asking for the $1,000 signature bond on each count and the no further violent contact.
You give me the names of the alleged victims, please?
Oh, yes. So Lori, Lori Cupoli, and Nicholas, Nicholas Cupoli.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. McKean.
That all sounds pretty much agreeable. With the dollar amount on the signature bond, does that require her to go through a bondsman or post a cash bond, or does the
No.
signature aspect of it take care of that?
No, she'll be able to sign herself out.
Okay.
And if for any reason the bond is withdrawn, it'll be a $4,000. It'll transfer to a $4,000 good bond.
Okay.
All right. So For each count, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. I am gonna have her do 1 day of anger awareness. No further violent contact with either Lori or Nicholas Capoli, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. How old is your client, Mr. McKean?
She is 17 years old.
Okay, she's gonna have to have well, I'm gonna require that she has a parental cosigner. And I take it that that's gonna be her mother, Lori Capoli.
Yes.
Okay, so Miss Capoli is going to, we'll get her the paper. Is she on the line? If she's not, we'll get you the paperwork to get to her so that she'll be able to sign her daughter out. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anything further this afternoon?
No, that's all. Should I just stay on the line and someone can send me the link, or I can send an email address, whatever works?
Miss Bridgewater?
Your Honor, Miss Grace will send a link to him.
Okay, very good. So we'll get you the link. Are you gonna, why don't you just go ahead and put your email address so make sure that we have it in the chat, Mr. McKean?
I can do that.
Yeah, and then once you do that, we'll have your contact information to get you what you need.
Okay. Judge.
All right, thank you. Have a good afternoon. Good luck
You
to you, Ms. Capoli.
Position number 3, Mr. Bohannon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bohannon. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000437E with battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
8. Got an open case out of Forest Park, terrorist threats, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission, and obstruction. 2015 FTA was dismissed. 2013 FTA, and he's wanted out of Hall County and Clayton County, if I'm not mistaken.
Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with victim Erin DeBose, ERIN DeBose, as well as a stay away from 2909 Campbellton Road in Atlanta. The facts allege that this victim was an employee at the apartment complex that the defendant was living at. He had unpaid rent, so he was in her office, and reached across the desk and grabbed her, leaving visible scratches on her chest. He refused to let go, until she had to pull out her gun to protect herself, and he only fled when he realized police were coming. We did speak with the victim. It's my understanding she's on the Zoom today. She confirmed the events in the warrant and let us know that even the next day after this, because this incident did occur in June, he was still out hounding her, harassing her, trying to take pictures of her. She had to use her or show her handgun again to get him to leave her alone. So I do believe there's a high risk of victim intimidation in this case, as well as you heard all those FTAs. I have histories out of Virginia and Georgia, FTAs out of Virginia and Georgia, as well as he was out on bond for felony terroristic threats, possession of a firearm during felony and obstruction when this occurred. So for all those reasons, we're asking for that $2,000 good bond with the conditions no further contact and stay away. And at this time, if we could sound for Erin DeBose.
Mr. Bose, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I will need for you to, if you choose to, you don't have to, but if you would like to address the court, if you'd unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in.
I do not wish to address the court, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am. Mr. Chataya, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My client is a lifelong resident of Atlanta. He's 42 years old. He informed me that he has a bachelor's degree in business administration from a university. He also served in the Navy for 8 years, from which he was honorably discharged. And for the past 2 years, he has been working as a debt collector for a law firm. Given his lifelong ties to Atlanta, his military service, and his work history, we ask for a signature bond. But if the court is not willing, then we ask for a bond amount that is no greater than 1,000 surety.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. DeBose, stay away from the Campbellton Road address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Bohannon, no contact means absolutely no contact. Obviously, no personal contact, no internet contact, no phone contact, no social media contact, no contact whatsoever, sir. Good luck to you.
Number 16, Xavier White.
Good afternoon, Mr. White. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000447F with battery, family violence, and criminal trespass, damage to property. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
I got first.
Miss Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. That's what I have as well, first arrest. This is actually an incident from April. There's been an arrest warrant out and pending since April of 2024. Police responded on that date to 572 Hank Aaron Drive. That's actually a Publix. The victim made a report, and then DV investigators followed up with her after the fact. She was seen to have a visible swollen knot on her forehead, and she reported that she and the defendant used to live together. He approached her, surprising to her, at the Publix there the day. She made the police report. She was there with a friend. He snatched the phone out of her hand and threw it against a wall, damaging it so that she was unable to use it, and then shoved her, causing her to hit her head on the concrete wall outside of the Publix. An arrest warrant was obtained and issued at the time, Your Honor, and this gentleman was just picked up. We've made attempts to get in touch with the victim. Her name is Ronelle Joseph, Ronelle. We've left her messages but haven't heard back from her yet today. If you'd sound for her, we're asking for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial to stay away from Mrs. Joseph, have no contact with her, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Any objection to any?
No objection to any of it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, if Ms. Ronelle Joseph is on the line, wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. As such, for the battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the criminal trespass, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Ms. Joseph. Stay away from her residential address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. White.
Oh, if I may mention, Your Honor, that 2470 address shown in Odyssey needs to additionally be augmented with a 1429 unit number.
Okay, so you're saying his address needs to be updated?
It needs to be updated with the apartment number, yes. That's
Okay.
why it is mailed before, apparently, and he believes that's, I explained that to him, and he says, well, that must be why I didn't get it.
Okay, would you make sure to put that in the chat so that Ms. Grace can update that for us?
I will do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy, what case are you here for? Good afternoon.
Position number 10, Brianna Pope. I'm sorry I had trouble getting access, Judge.
We already dealt with Ms. Pope. She wanted to go pro se. We gave her a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. We can get her her contact information if you don't already have it, Mr. Murphy, so that you can get in touch with her and let her know that if she qualifies, that you can represent her going forward.
That'll be great, Judge.
Okay, so if you'll just get in touch with Ms. Grace at some point, we'll get you all that information.
Thank you, Judge. Like I said, I was a problem with the Zoom code, and then I figured out to go past that, and that's how I got on. Sorry about that.
Okay, no worries. I wasn't sure if you had been contacted to represent her or not. That's why we proceeded. Had I known, I would have waited for you.
That's fine, and I didn't hear from the jail either. So thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Who do we have next?
Number 4, Brown.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Brown. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000438F with loitering and prowling, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, giving false information to law enforcement, and disorderly conduct. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
6 adult arrests. They got these on probation in Clayton County for ag assault, open criminal damage to property, 2nd degree out of the cab. Couple of probation violations from last year and the 2023 FTA. That's it.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial on each of these counts, as well as to stay away from the Georgia State University. The facts allege that this defendant was found peering into the windows of a GSU building, said he was looking for a spot to skate, but he didn't have a skateboard. He didn't give a correct name or birth date when the officers asked him. Then he started acting hostile, raising his voice, saying, "I would normally fight people for doing this." So you did hear he has those 2 open cases. I think it was out of Clayton and DeKalb, as well as the 2023 FTA. So I do not believe an SOB jail is appropriate. We're asking for $1,000 SOB pretrial on each count for that $4,000 total.
Is it Georgia State that you'd like him to stay away from? Or
Yes, Georgia State University.
okay, thank you. Any objection to any of that, Mr. Jataya?
None except that my client informed me he is considering re-enrolling in Georgia State University or continuing his studies there. He's a pre-med student there. So I would like for him to continue his studies. I'm wondering if we could condition his return on being enrolled in the school.
If he's a properly enrolled student, then I'll allow him to go back to Georgia State. If he's not properly enrolled and actively a student at Georgia State, he'll be ordered to stay away. Okay, I'm not going to keep him from getting his education if he's a properly enrolled student. So for each count, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. He's to stay away from Georgia State unless he's a properly enrolled student. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Brown.
That's per Judge Holly.
Okay. Gotcha.
Position number 5, Mr. Colvin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Colvin. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000436C with simple battery family violence. Is there a history?
Colvin 6, 2018 shoplifting, 2013 carrying concealed weapon. That's it.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we're going to be asking for a $2,000 good bond, as well as condition to have no further violent contact with victim Angel White. The facts in this case allege that the victim had asked the defendant to take their child to school. The defendant said no, so she was going to ask her friend Dion, a friend that the defendant believes the victim is cheating on him with. So he got up, started yelling at her, pushed her out of the way, and shoved her, causing her to fall to the ground. She called the police at this point. And their child witnessed all of this and was recording it. The defendant told him to stop and made the kid cry. So we did speak with the victim in this case. She said they're no longer in a relationship, but they still live together and they share this one child. She does want contact with him, and she let us know she would be on the Zoom. So if we could sound for Miss Angel White at this time.
Ms. White is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Wait for you to unmute yourself and activate your camera for me. Doesn't appear so, Ms. Tucker.
Okay, well, based on the actions alleged in the warrants, considering the kid was there and the kid was crying over all of this, we'd really be asking for a $2,000 good bond with that condition, no further violent contact.
Okay. Mr. Chataya?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Colvin is 43. He has been a resident of Fairburn for the last 15 years. He relocated here from New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina had passed by in the region. He's currently self-employed. He has two businesses, a landscaping business and a TV mounting business, and he has employees working for him. My client also has two children, the oldest one being 24, and he supports them financially. I don't have any objection to the no violent contact, but I would like to ask the court to consider a $1,500 good bond in the alternative.
Okay, how old are the children?
So my understanding is the oldest one is 24. I didn't ask about the younger one.
Okay, so Ms. Tucker?
Right, he wasn't listed in the report because it was a juvenile, so I know under 18, that's all I know.
He's 11 years old.
Okay. All right, it'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness. I want him to have also a parenting class, no further violent contact with Ms. White, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Colvin.
Next is number 7, Holiday.
Good afternoon, Mr. Holliday. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000440D with terroristic threats and acts. Is there a history?
Fourth arrest, 2019 theft by deception, first offender. 2015 forgery in the 4th degree. Dismissed. That's all.
Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $1,000 signature bond with condition no further violent contact. We did speak with the victim in this case. The victim is Latasha, Latajah Reese. She let us know they live in the same apartment building, but not in the same apartment. And they are in a relationship. They were messing with each other one day, and she went to get some of her belongings. He saw her on his Ring camera, began cursing at her, threatening to beat her ass. That is where the terroristic threats come from. She then took his Ring camera and threw it in the woods. She let us know they've gotten into arguments before. This is the first time it has gone that far. She is not in fear of the defendant and wants to continue contact, which is why we are asking for the $1,000 signature bond with no further violent contact. She did let us know she'd be here if Miss Latasha Reese is here.
Reese, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. Is that you on the radio phone? Ms. Reese, are you with me? Okay, Latasha Reese.
I'm not Miss Reese. This is the person on the iPhone. I'm his sister.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, it doesn't appear that Ms. Reese is with us. Ms. Tucker. Mr. Chataya?
No objection.
Okay, it will be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Ms. Reese. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Position number 8, Mr. Lyon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lyons. You've been charged in case 25 CR 000450C with battery family violence. Your history?
Fifth arrest, 2022 battery DV conviction, theft by receiving conviction. I don't know what happened with the armed robbery, theft by conversion, and ag assault. I didn't see a disposition for those. 2013 FTA.
The battery, did you say 2023,
Two.
2022? What,
Yes.
and
So that was one
that,
arrest. It was a battery DV, theft by receiving, armed robbery, theft by conversion, ag assault. But I saw convictions for the battery DV and the theft by receiving.
okay. What county was that in, do you know?
I don't remember. I'll look it
Clayton
up.
County.
What county?
Clayton County.
Oh, okay.
And we did submit this case to be transferred to the Superior Court this morning, but they did not respond in time. So I went ahead and accused it. But we do intend to transfer this case as a subsequent battery family violence. For that reason, we're asking for a $5,000 good bond. The facts of this case, the victim, Alexander Wallace Robinson, is dating this defendant. They were in the car and he was taking the defendant to work. The victim let us know the defendant got angry out of nowhere and asked him to and he got out of the car to calm him down. The defendant ended up chasing him all the way around the Quick Trip, pinning him against the wall and headbutting him, leaving him with a large gash in his forehead. He said this is not the first time that this defendant's been violent with him, and not even the first time that police has been called. It's just the first time the defendant has been arrested for violence against him. He did let us know he'd be on the Zoom today, so we'll sound for him in a moment. But even if this is the first time he's been arrested against him, he's let us know this isn't the first time. And we even have evidence that there's been other instances of battery domestic violence against others in Clayton County. So for those reasons, we'd be asking for the $5,000 good bond. At this time, if we could sound for Mr. Wallace Robinson.
Mr. Robinson, if you're on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. Mr. Robinson, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, sir. What would you like to tell the court?
So it's not, I don't think it's his intention to, be harmful, but at the same time, like I've told him before, just because you don't get your way, you can't put your hands on someone. That's never okay with anybody, boy or girl or straight or heterosexual relationship. But I just want him to understand that I didn't want to take it this far, but it was out of my hands at this point because they had it on, the other camera from Quick Trip and all. But I just want him to know that I just want him to get help as far as mental health and everything as far as that. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, and I was informed that he's been violent with you in the past. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, are you all currently living together?
Yes, we have been.
Okay, and he has things if I order him to stay away, he has things that he's going to need to get?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Robinson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Chataya, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lyons is 32. He has lived in Atlanta his whole life. He holds a high school diploma and he currently works at Salada as a line cook. He's worked there since August or September of last year. My client also informed me that he is working on getting his life in order. In addition to holding his current job, he's also trying to seek a therapist through the Grady Health System, and he has his first appointment next Wednesday. My client informed me that he would not be able to afford a bond amount, so for that reason, we request a signature bond. And furthermore, if the court is going to enforce a stay away order, then I do have an alternate address for him. It's with his aunt. It's at 1020 Smith Street in Atlanta.
Okay. It'll be a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Mr. Robinson. Stay away from the residential address. You can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Lyons.
Position 9, Mr. Nelson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Nelson. You've been charged in case 25 CR 000-41441G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
26, 2020 FTA, 2012 battery DV arrest. Everything else was old, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, let's talk.
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 good bond with conditions no further contact with Donovan Nelson and to stay away from 2385 Reynolds Road in South Fulton. Do note in the report, the incident location was a different number, but we are asking for the correct address of 2385 Reynolds Road. In this case, the victim asked the defendant to stop yelling at the victim's grandmother, who is also the defendant's mom. And he let us know that he messes with her a lot, yells at her, treats her very violently. So he was just trying to step in, and the defendant grabbed him by the neck and began fighting him. He sustained 4 large lacerations to his neck. The victim let us know he is always having to intervene. And so he would like no further contact and a stay away. He let us know he may be on the Zoom today. So if we could sound for him, Donovan Nelson.
Okay, Mr. Nelson, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. I need for you to raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you. What would you like to tell the court, Mr. Nelson?
Well, first, I would like to, as I feel I'm a fairly moral person, I would like to appeal somewhat to Clyde Nelson's humanity and recognize that he's gone through a long life of traumatic events which have compiled onto each other. And just to address that, I do not wish him any direct harm, but the truth of the matter is that Clyde is a very violent person. Over time, he's had multiple different domestic disputes, calls going all the way back to 2018 or 19, in which no one ended up in an arrest, and even resulting in this call, or talking about this incident specifically, had fled multiple times. When I called the police initially, he fled. When he returned and I called the police again, he fled again. I would just like the record to state that I believe that Clyde is a potentially dangerous individual. While I do want the best for him, I just don't think that he's really capable of being a decent person to me, at the very least, or his mother. I don't want anything bad to happen to him, but I just.
Okay. Mr. Nelson, who are you to Clyde Nelson?
I'm his nephew.
Okay. And do you live at the Reynolds Road address?
Yes, I moved back a month before the altercation.
And who else lives with you at that address?
Would be his mother, Dolores Nelson, and my mother, his sister, Danielle Nelson.
And
Dolores
Judge,
Nelson.
yes, I was gonna say I do see Dolores Nelson is on the Zoom as well. If you wanted to address her.
Okay. Mr. Donovan Nelson, thank you for being here this afternoon. Ms. Dolores Nelson, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Of course, you don't have to, but if you like to address the court, you'll have to activate your camera and I'll have to swear you in.
I'm trying, Your Honor. I can't seem to activate the camera. The host actually start your video. Okay. Okay, I'm here.
Yes, ma'am. If you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you. And Ms. Dolores, tell me again who you are to Clyde Nelson.
I'm Clyde Nelson's mother, and I'm Donovan's grandmother.
Okay, thank you. What would you like to tell the court?
Well, first of all, Clyde came in my room, and it was 6:30 in the morning, and he and I was talking. Donovan came out of his room, which is right across from mine, and said, "You're too loud." Well, I'm loud. My son is loud. My daughter is loud. When we talk, we talk. I mean, we don't whisper. And I told Donovan, "Go back in your room. We're not arguing. I'm fine." And Donovan continued to approach into my room. And I'm like, why are you arguing? And as far as he's always hollering at me and cussing. No, it's just we're loud. We talk just like I'm talking right now. But Donovan is a very quiet person. He came home in May after graduating. And he said he'd been there a month. No, he has been there since May. He's been in college for the past 3 years. So I don't know where he gets this. Oh, he's always hollering at her and he's always doing that. He ain't been at home. So why is he saying that? And they got into it. Yeah, I don't know who hit who first, but my son has the left side of his face was swollen. And yeah, Donovan had 3 or 4 scratches on his neck, but he had to have thrown a punch in all of this anyway. And I have pictures of Donovan of Junior's face and Donovan's face. And both of them got marks, put it like that. So I don't know. That's my house, and I allow all of them to stay with me. No compensation, no money, no nothing. You can stay here as long as you need to get on your feet. Okay, so everybody standing, anybody paying no money. So what's the big deal? Why do you dislike that person? You ain't paying, he ain't paying, ain't nobody paying. And I told the policeman that came there that night, both of them was in it. Both of them was having a part in this violation. But my son said, if the police come, both of us will go to jail. So I'm going to leave. And that's the reason my son left. He said, because if I show him my bruise and Diamond show him his bruise, then the police going to take both of us to jail. And I don't want Diamond to be in jail. And he left. And he has been on the street ever since.
He doesn't have any place else to go, Mr. Loris?
No, he's been couch surfing with friends, and I paid for him to have a hotel room for a week. But other than that, no. And the reason Clyde came back to the house was to feed his dog and get clothes. And Donovan didn't tell me he had called the police again until the next day. He came in my room this afternoon and go, I called the police on your son. And I'm like, why you do that? Both of you were arguing. Well, like I said, my son, when he talks boisterous. I mean, you know, he don't know use your indoor voice. And when he and I are talking,
You're breaking up on us, Mr. Loris. Mr. Loris, you're breaking up on us. We can't hear you.
God, it wasn't an argument. That's what I told Donovan. We're not arguing house. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm back in your room. You can't designate what to do in my house.
Okay,
Did you
Mr.
hear me?
Lawrence. Yeah,
Hello?
you're breaking up on
Yeah.
us. You're breaking us up on us a bit. So let me just say this to you. Can you hear me okay? And Mr.
I can hear.
Donovan, okay, we're not going to litigate this today. So this is just a bond hearing. So I'm not going to entertain any more back and forth as to who did what to whom at this point. Mr. Lawrence, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Judge.
Okay, I don't think that it's good that both Mr. Clyde and Mr. Donovan are in your house at the same time. So if Mr. Donovan is there and you would have and you don't want him there, then you're going to have to evict him, or he's going to have to leave on his own. I don't know who you want to have in your home, but I don't believe that they should both be there, and I'm going to order that if as long as Donovan is in the house, that Clyde's not going to be able to be there. If Donovan leaves the house, then and goes somewhere else, then of course Clyde can come back and stay with you. Okay.
If I may, Your Honor, I would, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Your Honor. If I may, I would kind of like to substantiate this unnecessary argument with video evidence. This
Okay,
blue text.
as I said, this is not the time that we're going to litigate this. You all have your day in court going down the road. This is just a bond hearing today, so you'll have your opportunity to present any evidence that you want to present through the state as you go forward. Okay, so I'm just trying to do what's best for this family at the present time, so that this doesn't happen again going down the road. Okay, so Ms. Dolores, are you still there with me? You're off camera.
Yes. It said done speaking. I don't know how to get back.
Okay, I've seen you, so I know that it's you. So do you have anything further that you want to tell me? You understand what my ruling is going to be about who can be at your home and who can't be and when they can be there?
Yes, Your Honor, I understand.
Okay, so I don't want them both there at the same time, so y'all are going to have to figure that out.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, ma'am. I appreciate everything that you've told me. I understand that this is difficult dynamics.
Yes, I love both of them. I love both of them, but
right, I understand.
nobody pay attention to when I say something.
Okay, well, you also know, Mr. Lewis, that that's your home, and these are two grown men.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, Mr. Chataya.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 48. He has lived in Atlanta his whole life. He attended Georgia State University for about 3 years. He studied computer technology and psychology while he was there. He currently works for Crabapple Roofing. He makes roofs on downtown buildings. He's a laborer there, and he's been there for about a year now. In addition, he's a licensed carpenter, licensed electrician, and licensed HVAC technician. And before working at the roofing company, he used to work as a carpenter foreman. Furthermore, he pays child support and takes care of his father. The father lives in a retirement home. I also wanted to emphasize for the court that from what I gathered from my client, the alleged victim, in this case, Donovan, is 6'8" and weighs over 220 pounds, and my client is only 6 feet tall, and he has a smaller
Objection,
frame.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, y'all are not able to object. Okay, so you just listen to what's being said, and if going down the road, if you want to contest it, you can. All right, go ahead, Mr.
So that's my understanding from the discussion I had with him. Moreover, as we just heard, it's not entirely clear how this altercation started or who started it. For those reasons, I politely request this court to consider a signature bond, but if that's not possible, then the lowest bond value that would be appropriate for this case.
Okay, given what I heard, I'm going to give him a signature bond. It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with Donovan Nelson. no further violent contact with Dolores Nelson or anybody else in the household. As long as Donovan Nelson is at the Reynolds Road address, Mr. Clyde Nelson cannot be there. But if Mr. Donovan Nelson leaves that address, then Mr. Clyde Nelson, if his mother chooses to have him back, can go back to that address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay. All right, Mr. Clyde Nelson, good luck to you. To the rest of the family, good luck to you all also.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Position number 14, Tompkins.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Tompkins. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000445E with criminal trespass and damage to property and criminal trespass. Is there a history?
7. 2 probations from 2024, 2023 FTA. Says he's home and possibly on probation for interference with government property. That's all.
Okay, Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from the 27th. It actually started on the 26th. The defendant received a criminal trespass warning and was escorted off the property at 2950 MLK Junior Drive on the 26th. He had gone to the location, specifically the residence of Arjani Moore, and that's ARJANEE, an ex-girlfriend. Police removed him there. She had reported that he was outside banging on the window and the door of her residence. The defendant then returned at about 1:30 in the morning. Police went to the location. The window to the residence was shattered as a result of his banging on it. And while talking to the victim there on scene, police encountered the defendant. And again, encountered him and took him into custody because they'd already told him he needed to leave. When you review APD reports, Your Honor, there are multiple prior incidents.
Hold on a second, Miss Allen. Miss Allen. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
No, I apologize.
No, it's not your fault. I just want them to be able to handle what's going on here.
Should we just come back in a minute, Your Honor?
Well, I'm going to let courtroom 2 do what they need to do. So if they advise me that they need to come back, then we need to go on to someone else, courtroom 2, and come back to Mr. Tompkins.
He's our last person in the courtroom. The other 2 are waivers.
Okay. So is he settled down enough for us to proceed, or do we need to do something different?
We can proceed, sir.
Okay.
Your Honor, the only thing I would have to add is that the victim in this case reported that she was afraid the defendant was going to return. There'd been multiple police reports about the same kind of incident with the same victim in the past when you look at the APD report system. And his probation violation, one of them here in 2024, notes that the result of the most recent one was for him to have an evaluation, an MH evaluation. And so there are some concerns, Your Honor, for reoffending and a risk to the community as well as this victim specifically. We'd ask for a $3,000 surety bond, stay away from that location. Her apartment specifically is F6 there at 2950 MLK Junior Drive Southwest. No contact whatsoever and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And if you would sound for Mrs. Moore in case she was able to join us.
Ms. Moore is on the line when he wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. I don't see her there. Yes, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, my client, Mr. Tompkins, is 25. He has reached the 10th grade in school. He does not according to the PSA, there were no violent convictions. The job history of Mr. Tompkins is that he has worked at warehouses, restaurants, and roofing. And he would ask the court to consider as low a bond as possible, including a signature bond if possible, Your Honor.
I think he needs a social worker visit, Mr. McLean. So I am going to order that he have a social worker visit to assess for the need for a BHET. It'll be $500 good bond per charge, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. The BHET, no further contact with Ms. Moore, stay away from the MLK Jr. address, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If he does not get out, Mr. McLean, if you would please pass this along so that I can address him again at the SAP calendar on the 11th of next month, okay?
Very good. On 2/11. Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. All right, good luck to you, sir. So I understand that the other two are waivers. I guess that would be positions number one.
Position 11 and 12 are waivers. Position 1 and 2 are reset due to transportation. So they're at conflict.
Okay, thank you. So position 1 is reset till tomorrow, 129, and position 2 is reset for 129 tomorrow. And waivers for positions number 11 and number 12. Thank you. Position 11 is Omar Sims, charged in case 25 CR 000452F with possession and use of drug-related objects. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
On probation, Lumpkin County, death by taking, trespass, simple battery, 2020 battery DV conviction. He's wanted out of Lumpkin County and he's homeless.
And Your Honor, there is an additional count for this case. It's a reckless conduct count.
Okay.
This is an incident from the 26th of January at about 1:30 in the morning. Police were on patrol and they saw the defendant tending an open fire in an abandoned parking lot at 501 Connell Avenue Southwest. He was there with a young lady who was also arrested separately. Initially, when police made contact with him, he said he'd put the fire out, and the only real issue was that he didn't want to provide his information and was initially uncooperative, but he adjusted there on scene, and he's not charged with anything related to obstruction. A needle was seen poking out of the pocket of his pants at that time, and police asked him if he had any other needles on him before they searched him. He said no. He said he had a needle in his pants, but it had a cap on it. And so when Officer Maldonado went to search this gentleman incident to arrest, he'd already removed the obvious needle that was in his pants. That officer was indeed struck by a needle that was not safely capped, and the defendant then informed the police of his medical status, which required this officer to have to go to the hospital, Your Honor. That's the basis of the reckless, and he is charged with being in possession of drug objects. He also had tinfoil with some kind of residue on it. I would note that this defendant has history out of Florida and Georgia, and it all looks about the same. Many failure to appears, criminal trespass, drugs, and batteries. We're asking for a $2,000 surety, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And that's it. I believe the location is just, a public space. I don't think that there needs to be a stay away order, but we'd ask for a social worker visit.
Okay. Whose case is this? Mr. McLean?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Sims just asked the court. He wanted to waive his presence, just asked the court for a fair bond to be set given the circumstances. He has worked odd jobs. He's 41 years old. And he does have the Lumpkin hold to go to now.
Okay. It'll be a $500 good bond per charge, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. A social worker visit to assist with anything that Mr. Sims may need. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right, position number 12, Brandon Smith, charged in case 25 CR 000428F with terroristic threats and acts and theft by shoplifting. Mr. Howard?
4, 2011, possession of drug paraphernalia. Solicit to commit a felony with possession of controlled substance. Yeah, that's all.
Your
So,
Honor, I believe there's an identity issue with this defendant. This is a female defendant with multiple aliases. We ran the criminal history for this person yesterday and got no results today. There are results out of North Carolina, Texas, and Georgia that include numerous prior shoplifting convictions. This case is from the 10th of January. Is that correct?
yes, this calendar says.
The defendant is alleged to have walked into the BP gas station at 4335 Fulton Industrial Boulevard, where she told the clerk, Mr. Sayampu, Sayampu, that she was going to shoot him if he came from behind the counter, and then she stole a 24-pack of water and left. Police were called, they spoke to the clerk, they viewed the threats that were actually captured on video. The clerk reported that the defendant was hostile and had no weapons on her, that this is the first time she'd acted in this way in the store previously, and that she came back or she came the day before and tried to steal a box of candy. Here, requesting no contact, and we'd ask for a social worker visit, Your Honor. There are numerous AKAs for this person on our docket named Brandon Smith. She's actually a female named Terry Gentry, Alexa Ramey, Stacy Ramey, or Brandy Gentry, and has a significant history related to felony drug use and shoplifting. We're asking for a $2,000 surety, Your Honor. Stay away. No contact. Social worker visit. Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, she is 35 and she says she's disabled and a high school graduate. Her main request is not to put her back on the street tonight. Thank you.
Okay. It'll be a $500 good bond per charge, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the BP gas station on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. No further contact with the alleged victim, and a social worker visit. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
Okay, and just it's so that Mr. McLean and Mr. Chataya, would you all just make sure that when I request a social worker visit, I'm getting to the SAP calendars, and the clients are having to sit a little longer because they're not getting those social worker visits that I've requested. So if you can kindly pass that on so that I can just get people out of jail as quickly as possible if necessary. So I'm not sure if there's a lack of communication or what, but I just request that we try to get that done for me, please.
Yes, Your Honor. A few weeks ago, we switched over to a methodology of putting it on the master calendar that we turn in, making sure that the social workers get copies and pointing out in the comment section which items were social work visit requests, and we court ordered or attorney requested. We distinguish between those two, so we'll check, find out what's the problem.
Okay, I appreciate it. I just want to be able to move these cases as quickly as possible and not have them sit any longer than they need to. Kasha, did you have something for me?
Yes, Your Honor. I am actually doing the calendar today, and I have the calendar myself, so I can follow up with the social work visits. The only question I asked for Miss Brandon Smith is the reason for the social work visit, so I can put it down for our records when we have to let our bosses know.
Yeah, it looks like she. Okay, go ahead, Mr. McLean.
I'll go ahead and text. Sure.
That works. And it's also helpful if we know about these clients as well, if we can before court, so we can already have a report for you.
Right.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. Ms. Bridgewater, whenever you're ready for us.
Yes, and let me also add, Mr. McLean, will you make sure you send me a waiver for those two people? I don't have a waiver yet.
Right. I don't know what's wrong with the computer. I did the scan email to self of the waiver forms. And for the last, I don't know how long, how many minutes I've been checking to see if they've shown up so I can forward them. And the computer haven't shown up yet.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be February the 11th. Positions 1 and 2 are being reset till tomorrow, I believe, because of transportation issues or whatever. But nonetheless, they're reset to the SCA calendar for tomorrow. Position 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 4 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. 5 is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 6 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial with a co-signer. 7 is reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 8 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. 9, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 10, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through the jail. 11 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 total good bond. 13 is reset further notice with a total $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 14 is reset to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. 15 is reset to the comp calendar for February the 13th with a $2,000 good bond. And 16 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
What was the amount for 10?
For 10, it is a $5,000 SOB through the jail. Are there any others?
Thank you.
Yes. All right.
Did you say number 16 was 3,000 SOB?
16 is a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Anyone else?
If not, thank you all. We'll see
Thank
you
you,
next
everybody.
time.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Have a good evening.